All right, hey, what's going on, everybody? So I've officially released my first premium SERUM pack. So over the years, I've been releasing a lot of free ones here on YouTube, and I've noticed that people have liked them. You know, there's been a lot of likes to them, a lot of views. So I thought now it's time to actually release a premium SERUM pack. And this one contains 60 presets, okay? So I took a little bit more time on this one, obviously, since I'm going to be selling it. And it contains like bass sounds, pads, leads, some kind of synth sounds, some plucks. And I'm going to do the same thing like I do in all the other free videos. I'm going to go over each preset one by one. And if you guys want to purchase, the link will be in the description below. So let's get into the sounds. Okay, so as you guys can see, there's 60 presets right here. Again, this is Premium Presets Volume 1 in case I release another bank in the future. So here's some of the sounds. We got a bunch of bass sounds, quite a few, bunch of lead sounds, a lot of pads, plucks, and then some synth kind of sounds, okay? So we're just gonna go over some basses here, work our way through. I'll play it on the keys here with you. And then I've also created some MIDI notes just so that you can kind of get a feel for what it would sound like with programmed notes. Okay, so this is like the bass line. Go down lower on that. Okay, so that's called Bad to the Bone. This one's called Body of the Track. Okay, so this one's called Did You Just Go There? Okay, this one's called Don't Even. Okay, this one's called Heavy on the Bass. I got no effects there. That one's got a nice low end. This one's called Just the Way It Is. You know, and some of them I have effects layered on and stuff like delay and stuff. So if you don't want it, it's just a matter of just turning it off and stuff like that, just to kind of get it to suit your track. This one's called Let Me Tell You a Secret. Okay, this one's called Let's Be Truthful. Okay, this one's called Oh Hey Girlfriend. Okay, next one's called Seriously. Okay, this one's called We Mean Business. Okay, on to the next bass sound. This one's called Yeah, About That. Okay, next one's called Yoo-hoo. I used to work with a guy, and he'd always walk down like the hallways, and that's just what he'd always say. So it just made me remember him, and I labeled it after him. Okay, and I've also tried to make the basses, you're playing in like the same octaves for each bass preset, just to make it simple, like in case you have your MIDI notes adjusted and you hit play, so it's looping, and you can just kind of switch between them super easy. So again, that's the last one for the basses. That was yoo-hoo. Okay, so now we're into some leads, okay? So I got quite a few leads in this pack. Some are like really big and like trancey kind of sounding. Some are kind of more pluckish. Some are kind of just kind of unique in the sense that like they're like a bottle blowing kind of sounding one. So we're into All Around the World. That's the first lead sound, okay? So okay, on to the next sound. This one's called Anacondasaurus. I just thought of it super randomly. I actually Googled it and I saw that someone else thought about that. I don't know, it's kind of funny. And then what happened was I created the Anacondasaurus sound and then I kind of started tweaking it to be different. So there's 3 versions of the sound. We go to the next one. That's probably like my favorite one out of the Anacondasaurus's. And then now into number 3. Okay, on to the next sound. This one's called Bigger Than I Can Imagine. Okay, so I'm just going to play this one with my MIDI loop just to give you an example of how it sounds. Okay, next sound. So this is Bottle Blower. So I'm going to play this one individually. It's a really, really cool sound. Okay, just wanted to solo that one out for you. Really, really cool sound. This one's called Can't Make Sense of It. And then with the beat. Okay, next sound. So those are the cool sounds, like Caribbean blues is what I labeled it. Kind of has like that Caribbean kind of sound to it. Okay, next sound. You know, like, and as you're playing with these sounds, like never be afraid just to kind of turn off an oscillator or turn back on. Turn this one on, maybe. You know, so usually what I try and do is I try and kind of get like a nice balance in between these sounds, so they all kind of complement each other. Okay, so we're just going to continue on. So this one's called Ears That Hear Unfiltered. It's quite aggressive. It'd be a really, really cool lead for a track. Okay, with the beat. Okay, next sound. This one's called Emotions. Okay, this one's called Impatience. Okay, next sound. It's called Mindset. Okay, next sound. Missions and Ambitions. Opportunities to be had. Turn it up a little bit. Pardon Me. This was called Pushing Through the Crowd. You know, I just feel that these sounds kind of sound different when I'm playing them versus when I add it into like the drum loop. And then I was also kind of playing around with like some sidechain, so I turn this on, like without it. Aggressive. Okay, next sound. Okay, turn it off. Okay, so this is kind of a cool sound. It's called Seashells. With the beat. Okay, next sound. This one's called Sequel. Play it by itself. Okay, it's kind of a different kind of sound. So on to Summertime Goals. With the beat. You know, in the effects, just don't be afraid to, you know, try different things out. You know, add more reverb. You know, with like reverb, sometimes I find if you have like a longer tail, but then, you know, dial down the mix, or if you have a less tail, but then mix it up, or whatever you want to do. You know, it's just all about being creative and just taking these presets and making them work for you. So this is a really, really cool sound. It's called the Hard Road. It has like a really voice kind of sound to it. I'll let you hear it. So really cool sound with the beat. And the next one, I've labeled it called Voices. So it's kind of similar to like the one we just heard, a little bit different sound to it though. So almost kind of a voice kind of sound in there, so. Okay, so we will be getting into some pads, as you can see right here. So we'll start with Bring It. Okay, so the pads, I really, really like them in this pack here. They're really, really emotional, really swelly, really atmospheric. So here we go. So up high and low. This one's called Birding Ambition. Okay, so this one's called Consistency. So consistency. Okay, on to the next. This one's called Expert Bottle Blower. I think I may have worked off of the previous bottle blower preset and just kind of tweaked it to make it a pad. So what I did on this one actually, so in envelope 3, this is the bottle blowing sound. It's like, okay, but it could maybe sound a little bit too much, I found at times. So what I did was this envelope, you can just set the attack. You can just dial this shorter and it will dip down the actual blowing part a little faster. Okay, so there's like the blowing, but if we increase the attack, you'll hear more like the okay, a little bit less, and you'll hear it just for a second. Okay, so we'll reload that. So I have it at about 800. But again, you can adjust it to make the volume go quieter quicker or longer, or you can adjust so that the volume even goes quieter. So it sounds like this. This one's called It Actually Happened Twice. So if we go to the next preset, I labeled it can only happen once, and then I made this one after. So it actually happened twice. So here we go. So this is the preset. And this one actually doesn't have too much effects in terms of like reverb and stuff. So if we like load that on, make it a little bit longer, you know, because usually pads have that kind of sound. Usually cut the lows and maybe have some highs. Sometimes I cut the highs too. Okay, so I like that a little more than how I dialed it in. So, you know, maybe I'll put that to like 40, like 42 or something. Okay, so I'll actually save that. Okay, so now this is where that previous preset was built off of. So this one's called It Can Only Happen Once. So this one doesn't have so much of a swell sound like the other ones. But sometimes it's nice to have different pads, like some that are kind of more, that swell more, some that, again, that react a little bit faster to your notes. So this one's called Look Past Yourself. Okay, on to the next sound. So this is called Overlooking the Ocean. Okay, next sound. This is called Overlooking the Seas. Okay, next preset. This one's called Uneasy, and we have a couple more pads here, so we'll check them out. So we have two more. So Uneasy, and then What Do You Really Mean? So here we go. You know, if you want to do more like a string kind of sound, so. And again, all I did there was I just adjusted the attack. So if we reload that preset, you can see down here in the attack. So that's what allows the sound to swell, to kind of slowly build up. So if I put this like, let's go 800, you'll see it's more of a swell. Maybe a little bit longer, 1200. So that has to do also with the filter here. So as you can see, envelope 1 is what controls the volume envelope, the amplifier. The actual initial sound, and then envelope 2 is what I've used to adjust the filter. So if I adjust this, so this is actually quite long, so maybe I'll you know, make the tension a little bit, you know, bring it down. So, you know, however you want to play with this, but in this case, let's try and get more strings. Okay, we'll bring this back a bit. We'll go maybe like 500. Okay, so that's uneasy. Just kind of showing you how to play around with the presets. That's usually how I do it. My envelope 1 is again for like actually molding the initial sound. Envelope 2 is usually what I use for my filter. And then sometimes what I'll do is I will adjust other knobs off of that filter envelope. And then sometimes I'll even go off of envelope 3 to adjust stuff. As you can see, I've actually used envelope 3 to adjust the sub here. So I've actually made it to kind of lower in volume. So I help it at the initial sound, but then maybe I found it's a bit too aggressive on the sustain. So I bring it down in volume. You know, just it's just not so aggressive on the sustain. Okay, so that's uneasy. We'll go to our last pad sound, okay? This one's called What Do You Really Mean? So. Okay, so now we're into some plucked sounds. So this one's called Bootsy. That's what my mom calls her cat. It's like his nickname. Okay, let's get back into the drum loop with the MIDI notes. And just be careful of SERUM. If you adjust your master volume too loud, you'll actually introduce distortion into the sound. You know, whether you want that or you don't. Okay, so that's called Bootsy. This one's called Come At Me, Bro. Okay, with the drum loop. Okay, our next sound here is called Come Sit Down. So in the effects here, you guys can adjust the chorus to what you want. You can even turn it off. So with it on, it sounds pretty cool. So with the actual drum loop, I'll turn the chorus on and off. So it's on right now. With it off. And maybe a little back it off. You know, so again, these presets are just kind of a base, a template for you to work off of, and you can kind of tweak it to how you want. So this one's called Ears That Hear, with the beat. Let's add some reverb on that. That's better. Okay, so this one's called Keep It Simple, Silly. next sound is called Listen to These Proverbs. Okay, next sound. So this one's called Rubber Ducky, and what's cool about it is I adjusted this chorus pitch so it modulates as it plays, and it creates a kind of, I'm just kind of reminded me of like a bathtub, like bubbles, rubber ducky kind of sound. And when I add on the other layers, it kind of masks it being detuned, but then you get the kind of the after effect of the delay. Okay, so I thought this was kind of a cool pluck sound. Okay, on to the next. This is called Saying What You Mean. So the one before it. So again, squeaky clean. Again, it kind of reminded me of like that bathtub kind of feel, with like bubbles and like kind of, almost like bubbles popping or something. So I did like the same thing from Rubber Ducky to squeaky clean. So. Okay, next sound. So now we're into some kind of synth sounds. I just kind of found like they weren't quite like that aggressive lead-ish kind of sound. They were kind of more, kind of like fillers in the background of your track or something. So. Okay, so that one's called Different Approach. Okay, the next sound is In a New Light. Okay, next one. So this one I called Is That 60 Yet? Because I think I was around like 58 presets when I was creating this. And I was like just one under. So is that 60 presets yet? So maybe a little bit more. Okay, so on to our next sound. So this is So You Like Synths, eh? So with the drum loop. Okay, on to our next and final last sound. So just playing by itself. Okay, and so there you have it. That is my premium SERUM presets volume 1. If you guys want to purchase it, you guys can check the link in the description. And if you guys want to taste test of my other sounds, you guys can download my free packs. So I hope you guys enjoy. If you purchase, thanks for supporting me, and I'll see you guys in my future videos.